What is going on, guys? We are in the zone. This is episode 130. As we all know, this NHL season was a lot different. We've seen 82 game seasons, we've seen 48 game seasons, and now we just concluded our 56 game season in the National Hockey League. We're going to quickly look at the playoff matchups and we're going to do our predictions. So, to start, I'll ask this question, guys. Were there any surprises by the season's end this year in the NHL?
Man, for me, I want to say Connor McDavid, honestly. I didn't think he would reach this number in this short of a time. I know we talked about it last week, but he's just so far ahead of everybody else. So seeing him actually get to 100 in only 51 games or something like that is pretty insane. So I'll throw that out there again.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Him getting that, that's like Gretzky numbers right here. In a 50-game season, 56 games, he's still able to put over 100 points. And people can say, okay, it's a North Division, but he played against the Leafs a few times. He played against the Calgary Flames team that pretty much gives Edmonton a run for their money all the time. They always play aggressive against the Oilers. And Vancouver, even though they had COVID, they still played them tough when they played them. So, yeah, you're playing Ottawa and you're playing Montreal, getting the points off of Winnipeg, but what McDavid did in this shortened year is really impressive, and I think next year he's just going to pick up where he left off. I think he's going to get the Hart Trophy this year, and next year he'll probably put up well over 130 points, so this McDavid run is far from done.
And that rhymes. Yeah, I want to just quickly talk about Connor McDavid and how impactful he's been. I mean, we talk about Draisaitl the last 3 years has been well over a point a game. Kucherov again. If the guy didn't get hurt this year, he'd probably be top 3, top 5 in scoring. So seeing Connor McDavid do what he did, I mean, he hasn't won I think he hasn't won the Art Ross in 2 or 3 years, but that's just because of, how great Draisaitl and Kuch's years were. But he made sure he won it this year, getting 153 games. That's just absolutely ridiculous. I want to quickly move on from the North Division for a second. I want to just quickly ask you guys about so we had 2 new divisions this year. Obviously, we had the North, which we had Winnipeg and Edmonton and Calgary, all those teams coming back and facing, Montreal and Toronto. But I want to talk about the Central Division. We had Florida, Tampa, Carolina go into the West, and they are in the same, and Detroit and Columbus, and they're taking on, the Blackhawks, the Stars, the Preds. Because this division really, it stands out to me because to me there were a lot of surprises. I guess I'll ask in this case. So we saw Dallas finish 5th in the division, which to me I thought was a little bit of a surprise. Nashville making it over Dallas to me is a bit of a head scratcher. But to me, I think the biggest surprise here, now call me crazy, is Carolina finishing 1st in this division. What are your guys' thoughts on the overall result of the Central Division this year?
I think for the 2 teams, Carolina and Florida, it seems surprising, but all of their young players are kind of coming up at the same time. Aho, Tervainen, Nikish, Niederreiter coming in was nice. All of their young defensemen, they're all blossoming at the same time. And this year with Carolina and Florida, they kind of just took off. Kind of surprised they finished 1 and 2, but I think it was a matter of time before Carolina broke through with the position they've been in the last 10 years. And everyone's been talking about Florida for so long, and Aulino loves ripping on them, but this might be the year they do some damage.
Yeah, I agree. Now you look at their team, all the young players that are coming up and making a difference, especially in Carolina, like Svechnikov, Aho. They really made this team their own, kind of built away from that Eric Stahl year where – yeah, they were making the playoffs sometimes, but they were really getting the results after that Stanley Cup win. So I think now they're trying to consistently build something over there and build excitement in that market. For Florida, I think it's finally it's about time. Ekblad, I know he got hurt, but you look at everyone else, Barkov's finally going to get that spotlight on him, how good he is. Quenneville's a really good coach in the NHL. I think he's among the best in the game still. And Bobrovsky, our boy, He's going to be back in the playoffs. I think he had a bad year last year, regroup this year. So Florida playing Tampa, if they can't get a sold-out crowd and build a rivalry over there, they should just pack up shop and get the fuck out of there and go on and look at other teams to relocate to, because this is the best opportunity. The Battle of Florida. I don't know what else can energize that market for hockey. Like, it's not going to always be known as a hockey hotbed because it's like the weather, obviously. It's not a cold climate, but if Florida can't build like a big fan base after this and finally get some traction, then the league's going to have to look at that and look at maybe moving elsewhere.
I agree with you guys. I think Carolina, when you look back at how everything's kind of worked out over the years, this is a team where they kind of deserve it, don't they? I mean, Eric Stahl, he was there a long time ago, and they haven't really been that important. I mean, I think it was not last year, but the year before that when we first started the pod, and they went on that run in the playoffs, and then they lost to Boston. We were all like, okay, this is Carolina. This is the team where they're good, but we don't really see them, doing this every single year. And then all of a sudden, after that year, they win the lottery and get Svechnikov. So that definitely quickened the process, I think, for Carolina when you have a guy like Svech. I think if everything clicks, he could be that unreal scoring power forward in the league. Like, he can get you probably 40 goals at his peak. But Aho was a steal in 2015. They needed that pick so badly. They got Nikas. He's looking pretty damn solid. And, of course, at the time, I remember when Lindholm got traded, I really didn't like it for Carolina at the time. But now getting Dougie Hamilton and just seeing what he's been able to do the last year and a half, it looks like that's a pretty fair trade. I think everybody won in that trade in that regard. Lindholm, Hannafin go the other way. You have a young defenseman in Calgary there. But then you have Dougie Hamilton, who's a Norris-type defenseman, and he can really be the glue on your back end. You have Pesci and Brady Skjei they got last year, and Jacob Slavin. Jake Gardner's like their 7th D, so that's not too bad. But I'm really liking it for Carolina. I think in terms of Florida, though, I don't want to say I think they're going to get killed, but I just don't see them beating Tampa Bay. Just when you look at experience, like Bobrovsky usually folds when it comes to the postseason, and you're taking on a team that he's faced before, and it's not looking good. So I want to, but I do want to see guys like Ekblad, Barkov, Huberdeau, this guy named Carter Verhaeghe, the Leafs used to have. He had a year this year, so I want to see guys like that be successful. But I want to quickly talk about Dallas and Nashville. We all know that Dallas battled injuries quite a bit this year. Bishop was out all year. Radulov was out for majority. Sagan was out majority. Is this year just basically an anomaly for Dallas, or is this kind of the way that you think Dallas is kind of leaning towards as a bubble type team?
Take it, buddy.
Yeah, Dallas is kind of concerning though. Like, they did go old last year, and it worked because they went to the Stanley Cup final. I think they should have kept Corey Perry. I think, like, even though he doesn't score 50 goals anymore, he's still an important player in that dressing room. I think he could have added something to their group on the 4th line and just kind of build on that Cup final. Like, it was just 7 months ago that we were talking about them. Maybe they can win the Cup against Tampa if they can pull off an upset. They have the leadership group. A lot of experience, so I think they should have just kept on going and see where it takes them in a shortened year. They have like Robertson come in, and it was a nice story, but now you're looking at a team where's the transition and who's going to be traded now. Like, I look at a guy like Sagan, Jamie Benn, like these guys have been part of it for so long that maybe you're going to have to look at trading them elsewhere and see what you can get for them. Probably Sagan will get more of a return, but yeah, it's not looking too good. Their GM's going to be busy starting now and until the draft. So I think there's going to be a new chapter next year for Dallas, probably a new leadership core and a new captain.
Yeah, I really don't have much to add to that. I mean, if they have, like most of their team, if they have Sagan all year, they probably make the playoffs over Nashville, but you look at this team going forward, it's going to be Jason Robertson and Gurianov and and Justin Dowling, and I don't know these guys. I don't know a lot of their young guys yet. They're all still so new to me. I know they got Hanley on the back end, but this team's getting older. Last year was probably their best run. So, yeah, it's looking like a bit of a retool going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Tyler Seguin potentially being moved. I mean, that's kind of risky when you look at the production he's been doing the last 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, one of the best on this team. Joe Pavelski, I think, is a guy that they should move immediately. This guy had 51 and 56, 25 goals. I think he's 35 or 36. Oh, wow, he's 36. Yeah, Dallas should definitely maybe try and trade him. I know Jason Robertson had a tremendous year. I think you still have to play the wait and see with him. I don't know if he'll be this good. Rube Hintz, though, I think he could be the number one center moving forward, as crazy as that sounds. He played about 20 minutes this year per night, over a point a game. That's saying something about the production level. For power play points, he was also a problem. Him, Klingberg, and Pavelski led in that regard. And of course, Miro Heiskanen also had a pretty off year. So if that guy can bounce back next year, Rube Hintz, Robertson, they get a clear approach, clear direction, then maybe Dallas could even make it again next year. And of course, guys, we knew Gu Dolman wasn't going to be their starter long term. Let's be real here. But how about Jake Ottinger? This guy, he came up, he played a couple games. He actually played 30 games this year. He was a first rounder, 2017 for Dallas. He's only 22 years of age. Do you guys think maybe if they don't want to go with Bishop next year, do you think maybe they go with Jake Ottinger to start?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think in their situation, like you just said, they need a clear direction. They're clearly built from the back end. If they can just throw this guy in there, and they got Miro Heiskanen and John Klingberg. Yeah, I don't think Dallas has anything to lose. I don't think they're in win now mode. So there's not much stopping him if he's ready to take the crease already. So if he's been playing well, I'd say give it to him.
Yeah, I agree there. Like, might as well. Like, there's nothing really to lose. Maybe at free agency, you go after a veteran goalie or someone with like minor league experience in the AHL can come up, but probably going to give him the starting role next year and move on from Bishop.
Yeah, even Nashville, man. Like we talked about Rene being the guy there for so many years, and then Saros finally took the realm this year, and now they're in the postseason because of it. I remember at the deadline they were talking about trading everybody: Ekholm, Ellis, Granlund, Johansson, and now they just squeeze in. So with this being said, I guess I'm going to start now with the matchups. You have Nashville. They squeeze in. They're taking on, of course, the big dog in Carolina. This is hilarious. Like Aulino said, the NHL wanted Pittsburgh, Chicago, but they get Nashville and Carolina. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think this is an easy matchup for them, or can you even see Nashville maybe stealing this one?
Yeah, this is a weird one. I don't know. It's just one of those things you think you never see, but I think it's going to be a tough 6-game series. I'll give it to Carolina. Yeah, it'll be a back and forth matchup. Nashville, like, they're a solid team. A lot of their guys are solid in playoff time, so they know what it takes. They're not the same team they were 3-4 years ago, but yeah, I don't see them knocking off Carolina, so I'll give that to them in the first round.
Yeah, this is a weird one. It's kind of like the one last year, Chicago and Edmonton. Like, the veterans on Nashville, like, looking on paper, like, Nashville should beat them in 4 games if this was like 2 years ago. But based on the way they played, Carolina should be a walk in the park in this one. But I don't know, the matchup here, I see Nashville getting a couple games, maybe extending this to 7, but I see Carolina moving on. But you got to know, Gary is pretty pissed off at the NHL head office. He was probably circling around looking, we got Crosby, we got Malkin, we got Jeff Carter, and they're going to take on Chicago with Kane and Taves and all these guys. This is amazing, and Nashville screwed that all up. So Gary's not going to be a happy camper on the sidelines when he goes on to the games.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick here with Carolina just based off of what they've been able to accomplish this year. But when you look at both teams' back ends, wow, it's exciting. You have Hamilton, Pesci, Slavin taking on Yossi, Ekholm, Ellis, Fabro. It's going to be fun. Saros and Mrazek, I believe, will be the starters. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually went with Rene in a couple games because he's been there so many times. I probably won't say the same about Reimer, but you have Mrazek, Nedeljkovic. You also have Reimer as that third option there. I really like Rene and Saros. I think that's a very, very underrated duo. But I got to just give it to Carolina. I think Aho is on another level. I think he's above everyone else in the series when you look at, consistency. Again, Roman Yossi, somehow I had him in fantasy. He ended up leading Nashville in points with 33. Kind of low, but Forsberg was out for a while. Arvidsson had a pretty bad year. Tolvanen, this guy all of a sudden now is in the top 6 and he's scoring. He's doing the role he was supposed to. But I got to give it to Carolina. I think they're way too good. I think even Svechnikov, from his expectations, I also think he even had kind of a down year from last year. So I expect playmaking guys like Teravine and Nikas really to step up in the postseason, and I expect Svech and Aho to be absolute superstars for Carolina. I'll say 6 for Carolina as well. Moving on, though, same division. It's underwhelming, for me at least, this matchup, because we've just been accustomed to it so many times. And like Aulino said, if this doesn't sell out, this is just a problem. Florida should just give up. Florida and Tampa Bay. Florida had one more win than Tampa. What are your guys' thoughts overall? I know Hedman, again, probably the best defenseman in the NHL. Aaron Ekblad was on pace to get 25 goals this year. Just what are your guys' thoughts on this? Because on one hand, we have Vasilevsky, who's the best goalie, in my opinion, in the world. And then you have Bobrovsky, Dreiger, Knight, the trio of goaltenders in Florida going flipping and flopping. So can you guys see Barkov and Huberdeau, the way they've been playing? Can you see them outlasting a returning Stamkos and Kucherov?
Nah, man. But they're going to do a great job. This is going to be a fun series. Tampa, this is the best both teams have ever been, probably. So Tampa's coming off a cup win. Florida's been amazing this year. Both have 2 young and exciting teams. So, if this went 7 games, I wouldn't be surprised. But there's no way I see Florida taking this from Tampa.
I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers
He said it
dethroning
once.
the champs.
He will say it again.
My annual prediction on Tampa losing in the first round. I'm going to go Bobrovsky because he's in their head already from when he played in Columbus and they swept their ass in the first round. He's going to do it again. It might not be a sweep, but Bobrovsky's going to be on his A game. He's going to get a shutout here and there. He's going to make all their guys look around like, how do we score on Bobrovsky's a wall? And Florida, book it right here. Second round matchup.
So what are we gonna have to call Tampa Bay like Tampa Bob? Because you have LeBronto, and then so if Bobrovsky beats him again, you're gonna have Tampa Bob. Yeah, no, but I don't see Florida winning. I mean, I think they're exciting as hell, and I think guys like Sam Bennett going over there and what he's been able to do, very exciting. But you're getting Kucherov back. You have Stamkos coming back. Braden Point's been a freak. Johnson and Palat, we know the depth type of players they are in the postseason. You have I know Pagniello's a big fan of this guy, Blake Coleman, and you even have a Killorn. So there's a lot of underrated depth in Tampa Bay. Cirelli, we all know what he can do as well. He's a clutch scorer. I'm going to give this one to Tampa Bay in 6 games. I just think Vasilevsky, he's on a different level. The older he gets, the more confident he gets. The team really hasn't changed over the years, so I think that chemistry puts them over the hump. But Florida, they're going to be there for a long time. But I say Tampa Bay is going to go through here. But that's it for the Central. Now we got to go. We're going to go to the North because we're Leaf fans. We have to prioritize that over everything first. So we're going to start this one off with the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Montreal Canadiens in the season. Can you guys imagine if there were fans? This would be, I want to say each ticket would be like $1,400, probably starting. Yeah, it would be an absolute disaster. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? I know Toronto, they're easily the favorite. They've only lost 13 games this year in the North Division. But we kind of struggled against Montreal at times. I remember in the opener it was closer. A couple other games we had to come back. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys see Montreal being a threat kind of like Columbus was last year, as they were seen as a big underdog, but they came through? Or do you see the Leafs absolutely just blowing by Montreal this time around?
I don't know if we'll blow by them, but they better fucking win. I think they'll give us the fight certain nights. Like, I think I would take the Leafs in 6 games, but there will be some nights where some of the guys just give us fits, like they have throughout the season. So we should win this series. I think the Leafs just have too much with Matthews and Marner and all the forwards over there. Just a lot of offensive firepower. I don't think the Habs have enough to counter, but it's, some nights you'll definitely question it. But prediction now: Leafs in 6.
Yeah, the Leafs better get through this in 5, the most. Like, you look at their team, Montreal, like Weber and Price are gonna be the only guys you can look at that can carry them by like a game or two. But like, looking at the Leafs, all the offense, like you guys said, they should easily roll by Montreal. This should be one series where it's kind of like a warm up for the next round. I look at a guy like Matthews, who had like over 40 goals this year. The year Marner's had, the year Tavares has had, Nylander bounced back. So you add that in with the veterans you got, and your defense looking and shaping up to be something special here, and your goaltending. Like, I think Toronto should win this easily. But one big question: who are you guys going with Game 1, Campbell or Anderson?
I'll probably go with Campbell. Just based off of what I've seen from him. I think the confidence is a big thing. If he wasn't confident, then I'm probably going Anderson. Like, if he wasn't on a hot streak, I would probably still go with Freddie, even though he hasn't played in 2 months. It's a long time, but Freddie's the experienced one. But yeah, you know what? I think I'll just stick with Campbell for Game 1, maybe even Game 2. If you see any flaws in Campbell's, mental state or in his game in general, then maybe you could put Freddie in for Game 3. But I'll stick with Jack Campbell for now as the number 1 goalie.
Yeah, I'm going Campbell. He's been playing all the games the last few months, so I think you kind of have to start him. But yeah, what you said, if he's having problems, you got Freddie there.
Yeah, he also got David Rittich just in case too. So this is something the Leafs never really had. It's nice to look at it and not see who's your backup after the backup. It's not Scrivens anymore. It's not J.S. Aubin. Got some stability. It's nice to see.
I just feel like with the situation they're in, you have to go with the 3 goalies in the postseason just in case. Because we've seen Campbell and Freddie, they've had their injuries this year with their lower body. So I'm still going, if I'm Kyle Dubas, I'm still doing 3 goalies. I'll have Rittich up in the press box. I don't know if I'm having 7D, though. That's the risky part. I might have to go with 6D and maybe go with 13 forwards. The only reason why I say 13 forwards is just because the depth that we have up front is ridiculous. Like, we have a guy like Riley Nash, who I think can be a great penalty killer, and he can just eat up some minutes if a guy like Spezza and Thornton are tired. Spezza's had an absolutely ridiculous year. Never thought he'd be this good at this point in his career. John Tavares as well down the stretch. Him and Nylander have been putting up pretty damn solid numbers. So that's very, very nice to see. But like Pagniello said, I'll only say 6 games just based off of last year. I mean, I know Tortorella's a hell of a coach, but I didn't really see us running into too much problems with Columbus because they had Elvis and Korpisalo going into the series. So I wasn't really worried with the firepower we had. But yeah, this year it's like you have Carey Price and Jake Allen. That goalie tandem's been pretty damn. I think Jake Allen's basically the reason they're here right now. Because without Jake Allen, Calgary should easily be the team in. You have Markstrom, you got Tanev in the offseason. Goudreau and Monahan are supposed to be superstar players. I mean, Monahan has not had a good year the last 2 years, so that's kind of concerning. He's 27 years old. But, I mean, if I'm the Leafs, you just got to stick with your game plan. You know, you got to score 4 goals a game, 3 goals a game. You got to wear down the defense. Really, you got to absolutely pepper. If I was the Leafs, I'd have Hyman, Simmons, Mikheyev just go all over Weber and Petrie all series. And I think you keep it at the status quo. You shut down guys like Josh Anderson because that guy's going to be a disaster in this series. He's going to be everywhere. I think the Leafs should be fine, but Montreal's definitely, I think, going to take a game or two in this one. But now we got to move on. We've seen playoff disappointments from this team before, and that is the Edmonton Oilers. And they're taking on a team that me and Pagniello for the last, I want to say 4 years, we've considered them contenders in Winnipeg. So they made their big trade with Patrick Laine. He's now gone. Nikolai Ehlers, he just came off a big injury. I think he's going to be ready for the playoffs, though. He's been their best winger this year. He's actually been a little bit better, in my opinion, than Kyle Connor when you look at the overall season. What are your guys' thoughts on this one? Aulino, I know you're looking forward to it. I think this is going to be, I don't know if you guys remember that series all those years ago with Pittsburgh and Philly when it was high scoring. I think this could be a similar situation here. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Can you see Winnipeg beating Edmonton?
Yeah, I could see it just because of Edmonton's recent history. But I don't know. Just look at their team. I think Edmonton should roll by this round too. I think Toronto, Edmonton should get comfortable wins here. I think they'll probably have more trouble. They'll probably be closer the games. Like 1 or 2 goals will be the difference, maybe OT. But I see Edmonton going by. I think McDavid, Draisaitl might be on the same line here, set the tone, and then they'll go by. But yeah, if they're going to steal a game, it's going to come down to just overall effort because they don't have their back pairings anymore, like Bufflin, Myers, so Trouba also. Like they've really had to build around Morrissey, and they did a good job. I'm surprised they made the playoffs to Vancouver. Probably Vancouver would have been here if they didn't have COVID for most of the year, so it's a good opportunity for them, but I do see Edmonton going back.
Yeah, I'll take them in 6 or 7 games, the Oilers. I just see them pouncing all over Winnipeg's fucking defensemen. That'll probably be the X factor in the series, but I could see the Jets winning just because of the guys they have over there, but when it comes down to it, when you have guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, I think, yeah, that's just going to overpower them in the end. So another fun one in the first.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go with Winnipeg winning this series. I think they're going to win this in 7 games. I don't see the goaltending being enough in Edmonton. Like this has been the problem for them for the last 2-3 years. You look at, they have Koskinen, they have Smith. It's just not enough. And even the year when they went to the playoffs and they had Talbot being a Vezina type goalie, they still couldn't beat Edmonton. I mean, they still couldn't beat Anaheim. So I don't really know, man. Like, yes, of course, you look at McDavid's 100 points and, Tyson Barrie's like 47 or whatever he got, and it's all great. But the penalty killers on Winnipeg are different. You have Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor, Alex Cobb had a year, Lowry. These guys are freaks. They're all over 6'3". They're going to wear you down. If they can shut down McDavid, Draisaitl early, I don't see guys like Nuge and Puljujarvi and Neal being big deals in the series. So if the depth can get going and shut down Edmonton early and guys like Morrissey can just stick to their role, we all know what where Winnipeg is lacking, and obviously that's the defensive end, but their goaltending is way better than Edmonton's. Hellebuck is way better than Smith. I'm just going to give that the edge. I think Scheifele as well. Like this guy can be kind of like a Draisaitl. So I'm going to still go with Winnipeg. I think they edge him out. I think Kyle Connor is going to be the X factor in this series. So I'm going to say Winnipeg wins this, and they go on to face the Leafs.
Oof.
But now we got to move on to, this division. Yeah, of course, the Metro. We got to start this one off with Pittsburgh and the Islanders. Very underwhelming. I really wanted to see Pittsburgh maybe face Boston or Washington. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I know the Islanders are considered a boring team, but do you see them upsetting a Pittsburgh? I know I do.
Take it.
Yeah, I can see them upsetting them too, just because Lou Lamoriello, that trade, it was a really good one. What he did with New Jersey. I think he gets guys that have good chemistry with each other and they blend into his team, and it doesn't really steer away what they actually are. So I think the Islanders probably have a good enough shot to do it. Like Pittsburgh lost last year to Montreal, for crying out loud. So it would have passed them to lose again. But they do have Jeff Carter this year, and I think that was another good trade by that group over there, led by Berkey, the president of hockey operations for the Penguins. I think he just adds something to their top six. You can have Crosby with Carter because they play so well off each other, Gensel with Malkin, and then everybody falls into place. So I think Pittsburgh wins this in 7 games.
I'm going to second that. I could see the Islanders winning them. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if what you said comes true. But I just look at Pittsburgh, and the Jeff Carter pickup's amazing to go with their core that's been together forever. I think last year was a bit of a hiccup. I don't have them as contenders, but I don't think they're going out in the first round. So, yeah,
What do you guys think?
holding out hope here.
What do you guys think a guy like Gunsel can do in the postseason? Because we've seen him kind of carry it when guys like Malkin have gone MIA. Do you think Gunsel can maybe get you another 10, 12 goals in this postseason, or do you see the run being maybe cut short by Washington or Boston?
I want to see him play third line center. I think like they should just split up the lines. Like I know they don't have so many wingers there to help Crosby and Malkin, but if you look at the way Carter's been playing, I think this gives them an opportunity to have 3 like really good centers on 3 different lines and carry the offense. Gives them a different look. Because then after that, you're looking at a little bit of a mismatch. So I would put Gensel on the third line, be the center, be on the power play units with Malkin on the second unit, and go from there.
Yeah, I like that. But a guy like Gensel, yeah, if he goes like at least deep in the second round, he might score around 10 goals. He's just like that in the playoffs. So if he gets going, watch out.
Do you guys really believe in Jari?
Nah.
Just a little. I don't really believe.
Okay, well, we got to go to Washington, Boston. These teams, I think this will be a really good series. I still don't know. It's crazy to think because I've known Boston for so many years. This is the one year where I haven't really watched enough Boston to really, see what they are about. I know Taylor Hall went there, and ever since he's been the Taylor Hall we love, and he's been doing his thing. Marchand, I was saying to Pagniello last night, this guy I think is like 5th in scoring again. So he's doing his thing. Do you think Boston is going to beat out Washington, or can you see Ovi and Kuzi and Backstrom just based off the year they've had and the transaction with Mantha? Do you see that maybe putting them over the hump?
Yeah, man. I'm hoping it's Washington. I will take them in a 7-game series. Dude, this should be like a conference finals. These two, maybe a couple of years ago, but man, I love Washington's forwards. Backstrom and Ovi are still rolling. Mantha, Sherry, Sprong is coming to his own all of a sudden. New guys like Hagelin and Mcdavid on the 4th line. Tom Wilson's a little shit. Their D are amazing. Yeah, but like Boston, like fuck, man, picking up Taylor Hall. The second they got him, it's like the stint in Buffalo didn't exist.
Yeah, like Big Z going against Boston the first round. I think that's like what are the odds of that happening? But I think Mantha is going to be the difference maker. Like I know Taylor Hall going in, it's like a completely different version of him, but I just think Mantha is a perfect fit in Washington. I think it's going to show here. 2 different lines now with a beast of a power forward. You got Tom Wilson in the playoffs, who, like you guys said, he can be a little bit of a pest. I think it cancels out Marchand and Bergeron when you have 2 lines like that. And then obviously Chara is going to be the difference maker, I think, for Washington. depth on defense, and leadership in the room, I see Washington getting by this in 6.
Do you really think that the marquee matchup here in this division is it safe to say it's Pittsburgh Washington, or would you say it's more Pittsburgh and Boston?
I'd say
Nah, I think
Pittsburgh,
always,
Washington.
Pittsburgh Washington for sure. Like Crosby Ovi, I think that's always going to be a matchup that gets people interested.
Yeah, because that's what I see happening. I mean, I still have a little hunch in the Islanders upsetting just based off of Varlamov's had a great year. Tristan Jarry to me is still kind of an unknown for me, but like again, you have Letang's had a great year. Crosby, Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Gensel. Brian Rust is no joke anymore. So they have the depth there. I just love the way that the Islanders, like you said, Aulino, they play as a team. Palmieri, Zajac go in there. They've had chemistry for 5 years. You have guys like Matt Martin and Clutterbuck and Cizikas. They're going to absolutely bully you any chance they can. They're going to probably wear the shit out of Crosby. I see the Islanders winning just because of guys like Eberle, Barzell, like guys like that can sneakily get you 4 points in a game and you don't even know it. Like those type of players. So I'm going to go with the Islanders and I'm going to go with Washington. And I think, I think Washington's going to go. But now I just want to quickly finish with the last division. This one sounds hilarious. You guys ready? This is jokes. This should be a conference final in the first round. You got Vegas taking on the Blues. Who wins this one? Is it safe to say that Vegas is the favorite to go to the finals this year?
Shit. Probably. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised they sneaked in last second, the Blues. They've had such an up and down year, but Vegas pisses me off with the success they've been having, like since they stepped into the league immediately. So they've been running things over there. They got Marc-Andre Fleury leading the way, Leonard right behind him. Fuck, Pacioretty's been on fire ever since he landed there. They got so many young forwards. This team is just, they're going to be favorites for the next few years.
Yeah, it's another one where former player goes back first round. We saw Chara now, Washington, Boston, now Pietrangelo, Vegas, and St. Louis. Like, if St. Louis and Boston get the win here, it's like a big FU to their former player and captain. But this one is another one where I think Vegas should get by. They spent a lot of money to bring in Pietrangelo. They had to retool the roster a bit, but I think Fleury is going to be the difference maker. Like, I don't see Leonard being the starter for the majority, but I think probably 6 again, maybe 5. I don't see this going 7 games.
Yeah, I'll say Vegas at 6, just based off of goaltending. Binnington, to me, he's not the goalie. He's not going to get you to the finals anymore. I don't think he has what he had 2 years ago. When you have Fleury and Leonard, they're so comfortable, man. You could just tell they're so relaxed when they think about goalie decisions. It's like, we got Fleury and Leonard. We'll just let them decide at this point. But Pagniello, you like, we talk about guys like Riley Smith and Alex Tuck and Matthias Janmark all being on the third line. Like, that is what you need come playoff time. You need guys like that on your third line to get you a goal, an assist, a big hit, and Vegas has it all. They have Ryan Reeves, Chandler Stevenson. I didn't even mention any of the top 6, basically, with Carlson and Marchessault and Stone and Pacioretty and Cody Glass. So this team is serious. Pietrangelo, I've been saying this all year. I think Shea Theodore is like a tier below a Norris type of D. I think he will maybe be in the Norris discussion, maybe as soon as this year, but I don't see him winning the Norris in his career. I think it's just too competitive, but he is a great defenseman. And when you have him, Alex Martinez, who's had an unreal breakout offensive year at 30 years old, and of course you now have Pietrangelo, that's a big, big problem. So I'm going to go with Vegas here. I think they're going to win this in 6, and I think Guys like Ryan O'Reilly and David Perron, they're going to put up a big fight, but it's just going to come up short. But now we got to go into, to me, this is probably the most interesting because last year we saw Minnesota as probably a bottom 5 team, maybe not bottom 5, but we didn't see them as a playoff team. And then all of a sudden, this guy, Kirill Kaprizov, comes in and he makes his team exciting as hell. Kind of reminding me of an Artemi Panarin when he first stepped in the league. Do you guys see, because we did see in 2013 Minnesota beat Colorado, do you see Minnesota making it closer than it should be, or do you just see Colorado just making quick work of Minnesota?
I think the Avs are going to kill them, yeah. In, I'll say 5 games. But this is another good one, too, just based off that one when they beat them in 2013. The rivalry since then, they've played each other in the playoffs a couple times. Like, these teams hate each other. So it's going to be fun to see them match up now, just because Minnesota, more than Colorado, looks so different. So I think the Avs guys are just going to skunk a lot of the Wild players. So I'll take them in 5.
Yeah, these two teams have some history in the playoffs. For Colorado, Patrick Roy, I think his last game was when they got bounced by Minnesota back in the day. So there's some history not on Colorado's favor, but I do see them running over them in 4 games. I think Kaprizov's going to be a stud for Minnesota, maybe get a hat trick here or there. But McKinnon and Kadri, if Kadri can stay out of the box and off the suspension sheet, it's going to be a difference maker in the playoffs for Colorado. So I got them winning in 4 comfortably and then going on to the next round.
Yeah, I'm going to say Colorado wins in 6 games. I just think Minnesota, there's just some teams that have, good teams numbers, and I think Minnesota, I'm not going to say they're going to win the series, but I just think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. And, it's Pagniello, I know you don't really know this guy, but Eric Sinek, I've watched him this year. This guy is looking like a problem. He's looking like a mold of a Couturier. Just the way he plays. He's a two-way centerman. You need that on your team. It's so valuable. Fiala's amazing. Kaprizov's amazing. Even underrated guys like Jordan Greenway, I think he can get you a couple goals. But when you look at the back end, I think it's really not enough. Spurgeon, Dumba, Suter's like 35 now. Parise has already taken a less of a offensive role. I think he's now on the 3rd line, so he's starting to understand his role. He's playing with Bukestad and Victor Rask. But you look at Colorado, and they're just too strong. Kadri, Burakovsky, Donskoy, we've seen time after time what he can do with San Jose in the postseason. McKinnon and Rantanen, to me, arguably the best duo in the league other than Marner, Matthews, and Draisaitl and McDavid. So, and of course, we have, like I said, with Toronto, they can go with 3 goalies. So can Colorado. They have Grubauer, Francouz, and Devin Dubnyk. So I really like what Colorado's done. I still think they're going to win this series. I also have them going to the Stanley Cup final. I say the Avs win this one in 6. So that's it for this. Now we got to move on to the ring. We got to go to WWE Backlash, or whatever it's called, WrestleMania Backlash. I don't know why it's called WrestleMania Backlash. Just call it Backlash. But I want to quickly, we'll go through the card and we'll just make our predictions, and then that's it for this week. So we're going to start this one off. It's a lumberjack match. We all know how lumberjack matches go. Aulino, Pagniello, I know you guys love lumberjack matches. The last one I vividly remember was Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2014. That was absolutely incredible. But this time around, you have The Miz versus Damien Priest. Who is winning this one? Does it really matter in the long run? And is this where Damien Priest finally gets his slowly awaited singles run?
Take it, buddy.
Oh, I was muted by accident. My bad. Yeah. Lumberjack match. This is going to be boring. It's going to be one of those things where Miz is going to put over the guy and Damien Priest. He's going to make sure he looks good. Kind of like what they did with Bobby Lashley. I see this being something similar. Probably be a forgetful match. And then Damien Priest hopefully goes on to something else. Hopefully the Miz goes on to something else. because this really should have ended at WrestleMania. That was a perfect end to this feud. And the reason they're extending it, I guess, is because it's called WrestleMania Backlash. But this is a feud that shouldn't have gone this long. I think it takes away from the moment at WrestleMania.
Yeah, God, I hate the name so much. But yeah, pretty much everything you said. Everyone's standing outside there, so the Miz can't run away, and then boom, he's gonna put the young guy over, or not young guy, but you know the drill. So good on the Miz.
What do you guys think is next for the Miz after this? Because I really don't know. Like, you look at Raw and you look at the position he's in, it's kind of like, geez, like it's kind of like what Kevin Owens was about a year ago. You really don't know what's next for the Miz, and it's really sad.
Yeah,
I don't know, man, but he's one of those guys. It doesn't really matter what he's inserted in. People just pay attention just because he's like that. I think this right now might be one of the very few exceptions. That in his 2013 face run. Oh my God! But yeah, I'm not sure with the Miz.
It's difficult because he's a guy who's like, he was just a WWE champion before WrestleMania. Puts over the celebrity, puts over the guy from NXT, Damien Priest, and now again, back to square one. What does he do from here? Does he win the U.S. title? Does he go on and feud with Morrison finally? Another interesting one is like he put on Instagram this picture and he said he was like down to 206 pounds. What if he does one more pound cut off, go down to NXT with the technicians, wins a cruiserweight title, and makes that title relevant?
You fucking
That would be hilarious.
brings that over
No
to Raw.
flips or dives.
Well, up next we have a tag team match for the tag titles on SmackDown. Oh my God, their nicknames are the Dirty Dogs. Dolph Ziggler and Robbie Roode are called the Dirty Dogs. That is absolutely hilarious. I just want them to win just because of their name. So you have the Dirty Dogs taking on the Mysterios, Ray and Dominic. Is it safe to say that Ray and Dominic are going to get their special little moment here?
Yeah, man. It should be awesome, though. If they give it the time, hopefully they get a solid 15 minutes. Dolph and Roode, oh my God. You look at Dolph's career resume, it's just so many random title victories in there, and this is going to be one of them when you look back. But yeah, this is cool for Ray and Dominic. A little past WrestleMania, but it's all good. Hopefully they get their moment here.
I don't want to see them get the moment here. I want to wait till SummerSlam when there's fans in there. And I think that's a perfect place, you know, Eddie and Ray fighting over custody of Dominic. So what better way for Dominic to get his first title than at SummerSlam, the same event where there was a ladder match for his custody. I think that would be a nice special family moment for the Mysterios.
I couldn't agree more there. But up next we had is for the SmackDown Women's title, Bianca Belair versus Bayley. Safe to say that for me, the build going into Mania, I thought it was fantastic. But ever since, it's kind of been, I feel like they've kind of forgot about Bianca Belair and like her competitors. So they just throw Bayley in there. We all know Bayley's a great heel. How long do you expect Bianca Belair to hold this title for?
Until there's someone worth it to take it off her. And I think with the year that Bayley just had, I don't know if it makes sense to really just put out the fire that Bianca's throwing out there right now. I think you just got to give her someone to make people interested. And then, like, after that, you got to see from there. But I don't think Bayley's going to take it off her.
Yeah, I don't think she should take it off her. I think they need to have a long run with this. I just don't know what they're gonna do after. Like, can she really feud with on SmackDown aside from Bayley? Like, they haven't really built anyone up, so maybe this leads to Becky Lynch coming back and they do something with her and Bianca Belair. But like right now, maybe they're gonna extend this. Maybe it'll be a DQ finish and they go again the next month. But right now, it doesn't look too promising there because Carmella, I think, is on Raw, or like I don't know what they're doing with her, but it's all a mess in the women's divisions on both shows.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Bianca holding it till I want to say like Survivor Series. If they really want to mix it up, you can maybe have Alexa Bliss go to SmackDown, um, and just take the title off Bianca right away because they've talked about Alexa Bliss's character Lily is eyeing someone. I don't know if that means that's a cross promotion. I don't know if she's gonna go to SmackDown and interfere at some point, or if she's gonna attack one of the three in the other women's match. But I'd maybe like to see Alexa Bliss or Becky come back and take on Bianca and maybe take her down, or maybe even a returning Sasha Banks whenever she wants to come back. But for now, it's pretty predictable with Bianca Belair's run. I think they just got to kind of go with it, and they got to just see how the match results are and how her confidence is, moving forward. But we got to keep it going. We got the other Raw Women's title. We have Rhea Ripley versus Asuka versus Charlotte. Charlotte, of course, being Ric Flair's daughter, she just inserts herself in here. What are your guys' predictions on this? I actually have Charlotte Flair becoming the Raw Women's Champion yet again.
Yeah, can see that. I wouldn't be surprised. Why not? Gotta get close to 16. Almost there. Probably drop the title the next night, win it back, and a few weeks later. I see this going down like that. I'd like to see, though, like what happened with Ric Flair. Thought he wanted to manage a client to win the women's championship. Now Charlotte's a heel, which doesn't make sense. I think they should have kept her as a face and win the title, and have Ric Flair come back with whoever and manage them. Maybe Nick is going to be Eva Marie's manager. Can have him back in the mix there. His client's going to win a title, though, in the future. That's all he promised, so just a matter of time. But Charlotte, I think, wins a title.
She actually pushing 16.
She's getting closer. I think 12 now, almost, or 11. Got to be up there.
Oh, my God. Yeah, the only way I see, I guess it would be, I don't see Asuka winning, so the only way I could see Rhea winning is if Charlotte's just briefly out of the ring for like a solid 5 seconds so she could pin her. It'll be one of those situations, but yeah, I'm with you guys. I want to say Charlotte. Because she is right, though. She's like very good heel, but she is right when she said the division needs me. Because so many things seem to be missing when she's not a main focal point. It's not the right way, but I think she'll get it done in the triple threat.
Especially like you said, she just turned heel. I think if she wins, then it's just the run would be right there with the Roman Reigns and the Lashley with the amount of getting titles. So I don't know, fresh off a heel turn, wins the Raw Women's title, especially off of a fan favorite like Rhea Ripley, who's kind of deserving of this opportunity. I could see the end result being exactly what WWE wants, and that's Charlotte getting a lot of boos, and just continuing with the belts and just start a great heel run with the belt again. And we just got to wait and see. I want to say Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I want to say this is a long-term feud, man. Honestly, I don't see Asuka out of these three. I don't see Asuka being the big factor here. I think Rhea and Charlotte moving forward. I want to say if Charlotte does end up winning here, I want to say I'm pretty confident in saying that we're probably going to get either Becky versus Charlotte at SummerSlam, or we're going to get Rhea versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. So I still think, though, Charlotte Flair comes out of this the new Raw Women's Champ. But now we got to move on. We're going to go to the SmackDown side, the Universal title. We got our boy, the head of the table. You better acknowledge him, Roman Reigns, his great run. He's taken on Cesaro. We've seen the last couple of weeks a little bit of an alignment with Seth Rollins. Do you guys maybe see Seth turning on Roman match, or do you see?
So I guess he was asking if we see Roman and Seth down the line.
Down the line, yeah, but I don't want them to rush it. You look at their history. I don't even know if their history matters here. They're both just in completely different modes, but Roman and Seth, I'd wait for that. So I'd keep them on the same page for a little while, that little alliance, whatever they got going on, and then further down the line, I'd get more into that.
Yeah, I'd see. Maybe he comes out and like leads to the finish without actually getting involved and costing Cesaro. Like Roman will get the little distraction and get the win, but I see Seth low key might win the Money in the Bank, string along Roman the next few months, and then maybe at the Royal Rumble turn on him and do that laugh when he takes a title.
I would love to see that. I still think Seth versus Roman is the plan for SummerSlam. I just want to say that I'm confident in that too. I love what they're doing with him. I think the run that he's had has it's been unreal. And, you just see what he's been able to do and, how he's kind of transitioned as for going from, a tag team champion to now a main event guy. And he's taken on a guy that he used to align with in Paul Heyman. So I know, Aulino, you said maybe it would be interesting to see Paul Heyman turn mid-match on Roman. I just don't see that happening. The run has been way, way too good. I got Roman Reigns retaining here, and I just don't really see – kind of like remember a couple years ago with AJ when he had the belt and there was really no one else, because I remember he beat John Cena and then there was really no one else that could beat him. I feel like that's where they're at right now with Roman. They're looking at their options on the roster, but no one's on his level right now. So I'm just going to say Roman Reigns beats Cesaro clean in a really, really good match. And then we got to go, of course, to the main event. We got Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, 3 freaking horses going for the WWE title. I know a lot of you guys are kind of not too excited. I know the build's kind of been underwhelming, but out of all 3 of these guys, who is the guy that's going to eat the pin? Is it safe to say it's Braun?
Yeah, man. Lashley already pinned Drew. You got to get Braun out of the way. It's going to be a statement match for Lashley because, got him retaining.
Yeah, it's going to be a truculent triple threat. Shane McMahon's former bodyguards all going at it. I do see it going and leading to like Drew versus Strowman, those 2 guys feuding after this pay-per-view, leaving Bobby with like another challenger, maybe a guy like Riddle. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Orton's there, but looks like they're going for the tag titles. But I see Lashley holding this. I like the reign. I hope he holds it long enough to see Brock come back whenever the hell he wants to leave the forest and get on a plane. And that's the one match I want to see. I think Lashley needs to hold it, look strong, not give up any pins, and like be on the end result. Like we already saw when he lost the U.S. title, the way they did it protected him. I don't think they need to do that with the WWE title. Let him keep it for another couple months.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now the Drew McIntyre WWE champion, I think it's on hold for quite a while. I think they're going to go with Bobby. Bobby versus Brock, I think, is the money match come SummerSlam if they want to do that. Or like I said, with Roman, Seth. Either way, both of those singles matches will sell. I don't know, Pagniello, do you think Strowman really has a remote shot? And what do you think is next for a guy like a Strowman or a Drew McIntyre without the title, with a Money in the Bank coming around the corner?
Yeah, for Strowman, I think he's got a shot. I think they made it believable over the last few weeks. They did a nice job of building it up. But I think it's just going to be a killer triple threat, and then Lashley's going to come out on top. But for what's next for Braun, it's always a fucking mystery because he always finds himself in it'll be the most random situations. So I have no idea. They should just capitalize on what they're doing right now with him in the main event, because he'll be in the main event, then disappear for 3 years, and then he'll find his way back there. So I could see him floating around again. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he just got lost for a little bit.
Well, that's it for this week's episode. This was episode 130. Make sure to watch WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday. Make sure to see the head of the table. This guy, he's the best guy out there right now. The big dog, Roman Reigns, doing what he does. Of course, this Saturday, I believe, is the beginning of the NHL playoffs. I believe the first game is Pittsburgh versus the New York Islanders. Make sure you guys watch that on all networks, TSN, on Fox, on NBC, all those special. Now, of course, TNT is going to be hosting them. And make sure you watch WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday. This is In the Zone, signing off.